Rapid fire Star Wars updates before we dive into the main topics of today's video. John Boyega has caused a bit of controversy in the Star Wars fandom, not by talking about the character of Finn, although he does have some comments for a sequel character in just a moment, but by saying that he's an adherent of the hashtag Mace Lives theory. I've pledged to you guys long ago that I wouldn't make videos about this anymore. Mace Windu is still alive after Revenge of the Sith. I believe it's true. Samuel L. Jackson has defended this. George Lucas kind of gave into that theory as well. If Jedi can fall from great heights, if Lucasfilm is happy to resurrect characters like Palpatine, Maul, they also nearly did it with Ben Solo, so why not Mace? I maintain that if they ever did a project where Mace Windu came back, it would receive unprecedented levels of viewership. Even from those who are against this theory, I think out of curiosity, people would love to see Samuel L. Jackson as Mace Windu again. And yes, we can go into the symbolism of Anakin's fall to the dark side, the fact that Mace Windu served his purpose, and where was he during the rise of the Empire? Why didn't he get involved? But just as a concept, if a creative could iron out the details, I'm down for it. And so is John. The only problem is he says that Mace should be resurrected post episode 9. I think that's just unrealistic. I'd prefer if they did something during the New Republic, or better still, during the original trilogy time period. Another huge reveal from John Boyega is that right from the word go, J.J. Abrams wanted Finn to have the Force. It's been confirmed that he does, but they never did anything with it. We never got the satisfying arc that was set up in episode 7, and now John says this. I would legit go into debates with JJ, and I told him I didn't see you plot this in The Force Awakens, and he responded, oh, you didn't? Well, think back to the very first scene with Finn, the 3 blood marks on his helmet. When Kylo is walking past and he stops and looks at you, what did you think that was? It's the Force. And then JJ said, you might not show the symptoms the way that Luke did, but remember, like with Princess Leia in Empire Strikes Back, there's a way to do it. So just some fun reveals, an appetizer or two to kick things off, but today, my friends, we have some enormous Star Wars updates. Now, Lucasfilm has finally broken their silence. As you guys are probably aware at this point, we are just 6 days away from Disney D23 Expo 2026. It is said to be a massive one for the different studios, and fingers crossed, Lucasfilm is going to bestow upon us some first looks, some public trailers, as well as some announcements. But today, as I just said, Star Wars has broken their silence. Now, while they don't say anything about the showcase itself, we do have a bit of a clue of what's going to be shown thanks to an article from StarWars.com. The Lucas Pavilion is back. This is where they share concept art and props and costumes for past and upcoming content. And this year, my friends, we're getting the props for The Mandalorian and Grogu, the film that's just gone, and Ahsoka Season 2. That's right, official acknowledgement we're getting something for the upcoming second season. And not just this, Amanis Fundy is going to be in attendance and paying the Lucasfilm booth a visit on Friday. Now, if we're going off the last D23, which was 2 years ago, the props and costumes being showcased is the biggest sign yet that we are getting a public teaser for this show. I still want to keep my expectations in check, which was one of the main themes of yesterday's video, but I'm also very excited by the fact that in 2024 we got something very similar for Skeleton Crew. At the Lucasfilm Pavilion, they showed off some of the aliens and pirates, and then we got a trailer for what ended up being one of the best Star Wars TV shows to date. I said what I said. So given the fact they're buttering us up for some Ahsoka content, we might be less than a week away from our first official look at Season 2. Now, what's interesting is that in this entire document, there is not a single mention of Star Wars Starfighter, despite numerous rumors telling us that we're about to get a first look. What I think is going on is that because Ahsoka Season 2 is coming first, and because it's part of the Mandoverse and they're showcasing Mando and Grogu props, they've decided to display the costumes of that project first. With Starfighter, I definitely think we're getting something for the film, but it's going to be safe for the showcase. I can imagine it being one of those huge not-so-secret reveals, where Dave Filoni shows those in attendance the Ahsoka footage, and then he says we've also got a movie coming up. Then we're shown a sizzle, just a teaser trailer, and then Sean Levy and Ryan Gosling are brought onto the stage. That's my prediction for how they're going to do it. But at this stage, I don't expect anything full length. It's probably not going to be a long trailer, but it's just going to give fans a taste, and that's probably one of the reasons they don't want to show off the costumes just yet. They're not ready to introduce us to every character of this film. And on this whole Ahsoka costumes thing, I'm genuinely curious just how much the outfits differ from the first season. I can imagine some characters are going to look the same, but then with Thrawn, we've been told he's got a new outfit. We might also see Anakin's Clone Wars armor, and something which I haven't really thought about is have they given Roy McCann a different outfit? I think Shin's the one who's more likely to have a change of clothes, but according to the concept art showcased at Star Wars Celebration in Japan, the outfits look exactly the same. What if it's costumes for new characters? And just a reminder, my friends, I will be covering every single update, so make sure you're subscribed, and also be sure to give that bell a good old tickle to never miss an upload. But while we're on the subject of D23, my friends, we've also got a new poster for the event. And in addition to an Ewok standing next to King George from Hoppers, at the top of the poster we see a Starfighter. Is this a sign of a first look at the film, or are we being a bit delusional? But now, we have yet another tease from Aman Isfandi. Ezra Bridger, he is without his beloved Sabine who was left behind on Peridia, but he's back with his friends Zeb, Hera, Chopper, and Jason. But today, my friends, Iman reveals that he had to train 2 to 3 times harder for Ahsoka Season 2. He developed a 35-minute routine consisting of 15 exercises. And why? Because in this season he's more athletic and has more lightsaber fights. Oh yes, here's the quote. "I got to do all of my own fights, which was awesome. My body was not ready for this level of flexibility, while also aggressively moving, wushu, and low stances and stuff like that, and especially high kicks." And he also says he had to get really good with his lightsaber training. Ezra is about to become 2 to 3 times more badass, if that was even possible. And then, and here's a big treat for those of you who stuck around to this point in the video, Iman reveals the person who got him cast as Ezra Bridger. It wasn't Dave, it wasn't Jon Favreau, it was Robert Rodriguez, the showrunner of the Book of Boba Fett. So say what you will about that show, and I know a lot of fans really don't like it, this is something he's done right in the Star Wars universe. Iman said this, "I shoot him a text. Hey, do you know the creators of this show? I'm unavailable to play Ezra Bridger." And then Rodriguez asked him if Dave Filoni was involved, and he says yes. So then Robert makes the call to Dave, and he recommends to him if he wants to bring Ezra Bridger into live action, he's your guy. Dave told him that once he got the call, he was like, alright, that's it. That settles it. We like him. And the next day, Iman was offered the role. And then he reveals what Dave Filoni said to him. He says, quote, "You don't have to watch Rebels, but I'll send you a list of some episodes that give you an idea of your relationship with these characters. Iman, you are Ezra. Have fun. Everything you're doing is working. If there's ideas we have, we'll tell you." And that's a story which we've never actually heard before, so kudos to Robert. That was one of the best casting choices. And speaking of which, my friends, I actually asked you guys this question the other day. Which animated Star Wars character do you want to see adapted for live action next? And the choices I gave you, although there certainly are others, were Asajj Ventress, Wolf, Vizago, and Hondo Ohnaka. Unsurprisingly, Asajj Ventress won. It could be in Ahsoka Season 2 in flashbacks, or, if she's still alive by then, in the flesh. With Commander Wolf, that's someone who's still alive post episode 6. Vizago was always going to be the more niche pick, and Hondo is the second fan favourite of this list. They have a version of him at Galaxy's Edge, and I'd love to see him come into a live action project. But with that said, my dear friends, lots of great reveals and news in this one. What do you guys think? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments down below.